How's it going, folks? We got one for the Patreon here. We got Alice rocking the Farseer. That's our good friend Piano, for those of you who don't know. We've got Tex, Man of Faith, playing as his Hive Tyrant. This is from the rather colossal series of games that was dumped on me by Tex with his Hive Tyrant. So he actually has been going double Hormigaunt, one Termagant usually. Clearly not getting a Termagant in this case. I don't know why he's choosing not to do this. Oh! I've just realised they changed this map. There used to be like a big gate here, which you could destroy, but realistically you couldn't destroy it because it had way too much HP. Well, it's been removed and now you just walk through. That's interesting. That changes this map quite a lot. Because all of a sudden this side isn't so isolated. Before you could only take these two areas. So like imagine, if you set up a setup team here, you basically shut off this entire approach. The enemy has to walk all the way up to here and around to get to it. It just wasted so much time. So yeah, that's a bit of a game changer. And Tex actually goes for the Termagants in the end. This is a really weird build from Tex. That is completely suboptimal. You would never wait like that, especially because it's not like he's rushed all triple power points straight away. Now, if you wanted to get the triple power points and node them all at the start, then I could see value in delaying your Termagant, because he'd have no extra wreck, and then he could use that wreck to build more gens straight away, but he doesn't even seem to want to do that. So to be honest with you, I don't really know what Tex is doing. Maybe he was just confused. He was deliberating it mid-match, whether he wanted to go for the Termagants or not. Anyway, he's got them. But he was idling them for quite a while. You know, it's quite funny on this map. It's actually kind of hard to see, especially when the Fog of War is hiding the requisition point. It's hard to see it on the map. You can see it quite easily on the minimap right now because there's units nearby, so the Fog of War isn't there. But yeah, I often miss the bloody wreck points on these snowy maps because I don't see it on the minimap. Anyway, I thought I'd cast this game for you guys because it's a fairly short game. It's only like 20 minutes long, but we get to tier 3, as I'm told via the replay title. But also, man, you don't see games on this map very often. I don't know if this map is actually like tournament legal, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. One of the unique things about this map is that the gen farms are super exposed. I mean, you've got this weird crater in the middle, but the actual distance between both the gen farms, when you look at it, like, damn, they're nearly on the same screen, and the bases are only just behind it. So the map is quite big if you consider it like horizontally, but the actual vertical distance from your base to the enemy gen farm is not very big. So it often, well, I remember when Piano first started playing this map, he would just call it the gen bashing map. But let's see what happens here. So obviously the Shuriken's setting up in the face of the Raveners. The Raveners are going to burrow onto it, knock it forward, and that will be force off for the Shuriken. If he was a bit further back, he could have just took the garrison, but Shuriken overextending really there. Banshees meet the Hormigaunts. Hormigaunts, obviously, they're a range counter, not melee counter. I'm sure you guys know that, being my loyal Patreon followers. But yeah, they can't tangle with Banshees, so they got to get out of there. Armor of Fortune coming up for the Farseer. Always a nice generalist upgrade, that armor. It's basically never bad. You don't even get it for the buff. You just get it for the fact that it gives her crazy HP regen and a nice bit of max HP in the buff. Really, it's a bonus. 3 HP per second regen. So powerful. So the Termagants and Raveners, now with both of them, they can actually focus fire things down relatively well, but Raveners are really overstaying their welcome here. I don't know why they were waiting so long, to be honest, but they do get out without losing a model, so that's nice. And now the Banshees meet Hive Tyrant and double Hormigaunts. The Banshees definitely need to get out from that position. They do not want to fight that. So it looks like the Hive Tyrant's going to stay here, finish the capping. He is slow, so I get that play. Hormigaunts being speed 6.5, they can get over to this side, potentially protect the gen farm, or go for a counter bash. Now, one thing I'm worrying about right here, look at this position of the Guardians. If this doesn't trigger your anxiety for these Termagants when they retreat, potentially getting hit by a grenade, then come on, you need to wake up. This is a tricky map to hit those retreat grenades, but boom, that's beautifully done. Only one Termagant getting out, 7 fucking Gaunts killed by that grenade. Beautiful stuff. Hormigaunts do get there. So where's the Shuriken? Now you need the Shuriken to stop this mindless charge, but unfortunately the Shuriken, a little bit late there on resetting them up, was Alice. So the Hormigaunts do actually disengage just fine. don't get punished for that extension. Did they kill? Oh wow, they killed 3 Guardians as well, so that basically is the cost of the 7 Termagants right there, so not really worth it. Banshee's not achieving a whole lot so far, but you know, it's not to be expected. Banshees, they're just nice to send sidecapping because they can 1v1 the Hormagaunts. They can 1v1 basically anything in Tex's army right now, but the Banshees will really come into their own in Tier 2. And I think that's where the Eldar really need to focus here. You shouldn't really be expecting to win the fights in Tier 1. Beautiful defensive positioning from the Shuriken here, risking more retreat grenades from the Guardians. I'd be very careful with the second Hormagaunts. It looks like Tex wants to keep them in, try and finish off this generator, but there's really no chance, and I'm surprised that Alice didn't move their Guardians down and actually try and get a nice retreat grenade there. I think that would have been a very nice opportunity. Ravenous force off one of the Guardians that attempts to take position in that garrison there. Shuriken's going to set up and see what it can do. Quite defensive, Fortune just going down on the Farseer herself, she's tanking very well. Banshees here taking a fight with the Hive Tyrant. Generally not a great fight for the Banshees if the Hive Tyrant does that enough and he procs enough specials. The problem with this fight though from the Hive Tyrant perspective is that if the Hive Tyrant gets really low and he needs to retreat out, the Banshees can easily catch him and kill him. The opposite can't happen because the Hive Tyrant's too slow. So once the Banshees get a bad engagement, the Hive Tyrant gets lucky specials, they can just retreat out. Yes, they might lose 1 or 2 models, but they're not going to get wiped. The Hive Tyrant can die. But still, it's generally an inefficient trade. The Hive Tyrant doesn't bleed, Banshees do. It's not an ideal situation. You want them to be nice and vulnerable like this, the Hive Tyrant, when he's alone, just getting shot by Guardians. Nice use of the Webway Gate infiltration there to get the Banshees closer without revealing them, potentially making Tex stay into the fight a little bit longer. Now, if those Banshees actually fleed around the edge of that grenade, I feel like they might have actually been able to take out the Hive Tyrant, but it would have been tough, because remember, of course, the longer a unit is retreating, the faster they get, so they might have eventually had enough speed to flee from the Banshees. But the way it's looking right now, it's looking pretty decent for Alice. Oh, well, actually, that counter bash, well, it's not even a counter bash, is it? There's no counter, that is just a bash. This bash from Alice is pretty great. Oh my god, the bash from Tex is pretty great. I was going to say it's looking great for Alice because Alice has actually got to Tier 2 ahead of the Tyranid, which is very rare. And if Alice just followed up with something like a Falcon, or even just a Wraithlord, realistically, there wouldn't be a whole lot that Tex would be able to do. That said, he is the Hive Tyrant, so he does always have the option of the Venom Cannon. I actually think the Venom Cannon being there makes the Falcon way more risky. Normally the Falcons are basically unkillable for Tyranids, but yeah, with the Venom Cannon and potentially a charge armor from the Hive Tyrant, I think it's a lot more doable, because you can't really tie up the Hive Tyrant. I mean, you can, but all he has to do is force melee on the Falcon, and he'll keep shooting when he's moving, which is very annoying. That was a very cheeky node there, but Alice is going to set up the Shuriken point blank and finish it off, which is nice. Dark Reapers are the choice for Alice. That will do very well against the Tyrant Guard. So right now, Tex hasn't actually seen the Dark Reapers. It'd be interesting to see if he cancels the Tyrant Guard once he sees the Dark Reapers or not. Farseer doing beautiful here, look at this. She's got the green cover, so she's taking barely any damage from the Raveners, and then she's also getting that 3 HP per second regen, so he's literally just got the Farseer in range stance right now, hiding behind the green cover, being an absolute nuisance. And the Hormagaunts don't really want to engage her anyway. Nice little combo there. I can't even remember what that ability is called from the Dark Reapers, but their sort of barrage ability, disrupting the Hormagaunts, and they couldn't dodge it because they were pinned by the Shuriken. So a really nice engagement there for Alice. And we do see the Tyrant Guard, so the Dark Reapers should be able to put some real pressure onto this thing. Oh, double Tyrant Guard because he's used the Global from the Hive Tyrant as well. Okay, well this is too much. You see the Dark Reapers are doing some good damage against the Tyrant Guard, but they don't have the stopping power to deal with it on their own. They need like Banshees to be attacking it, so that the Tyrant Guard can't just zerg it down and force push him. But yeah, with 2 Tyrant Guards, that is way too much HP. This is actually a good map for Tyrant Guards now I think about it, because of that short distance from base to the enemy's gen farm. You can get a lot of pressure on the field, you can bash their gens, and then you can get back and heal quite easily in your own base. These shot blockers as well are a nightmare. It's not like you can just walk out of your base and shoot them from here. You've got to come round and get really close, and of course they're chasing you down in melee. That's quite annoying actually for Alice. Don't know how he's going to deal with this. Now he obviously lacks ranges as well, so he can't see these Raveners here, which have got their enhanced muscle coil upgrade, so they're now infiltrated. Yeah, this is spicy, this is tough. No Exarch yet on the Banshees. It looks like Alice has been bleeding quite a lot actually. Where's he been bleeding? Strange. Yeah, Banshee's getting wrecked. You're going to see the Doombringer now. Good choice. But he needs to be very careful about his engagement. Shuriken's actually nearly going down there, wow. I don't know, that must have been some delayed retreat from Alice. Maybe it was a lucky special just beforehand, but that's rough. Yeah, a lot of bleed on the Guardians as well. Alice is bleeding far too much. Far too much. Tyrant Guards picking off more models. Banshees are running back out, but they don't really want to take a fight with the Tyrant Guards on their own. Not two of them. They do have Farseer and Dark Reaper support right now. Hormagaun's tying up those Guardians, but it's not really going very well for them because of the amount of support that those Guardians do have. Yeah, and he actually wipes from the Hormagaun, so that's a big pick. Doombringer going down on the Tyrant Guard, getting shot by the Dark Reapers, getting chopped up by the Banshees, but still no aspect of fleetness. Exarch here for the Banshees. She would do insane amounts of power melee damage. I think it's like 70 DPS power melee. So she'd be great against the Tyrant Guards, of course. Them being super heavy infantry, she would have a nice bonus damage. But Alice is bleeding too much. We can't afford anything. At least the Dark Reapers aren't bleeding. That's something, I suppose. Now we've got some warriors coming out. I assume they're going to be melee Synapse warriors. They have to be. Buff up the Hormagaunts, buff up the melee Raveners. Yeah, that'd be tough to deal with. Got grenades going out over here. Oh, look at this sneaky web brigade. Probably drop down using the Farsight Global of the Farseer to remove the fog of war in an area. And then they're going to come over and try and deal with this Hive Tyrant that's just chasing around the Shuriken, being a bit of a nuisance. Farseer's doing well, doing her thing. Managed to capture the natural VP of Tex over here and decap the Requisition. Something. But yeah, there's just not enough stopping power really to deal with the Tyrant Guard. The Raveners have actually spotted this web brigade. Good on them. Each player just taking a little bit of time to destroy the other's buildings. Capillary Tower for Tex there falling to the Reapers. I don't know if the Reapers just killed their own web brigade. That would be a top level play, because then you get more red than if the opponent kills it, which is hilarious. I think that's how it works anyway. Yep, Adrenal Gland Warriors. To be expected. I mean, it's just more melee pressure, and Alice is already struggling. I mean, to be honest, this is a good map for melee, now that I think about it. Very nice map for melee because it's big, it's wide, so you often will catch isolated units. Oh, the warriors are going to detect the infiltrated Shuriken there. It's poor micro really from Tex. Hormagaunts get into melee. Can the Shuriken get into the web brigade? Did he get in? Wow, I think it did, but it looked like... Was there not only two models on it? Okay. They live with one model. Fair enough. Doombringer does go down to the warriors, and that forces them off. They do lose one model. That's like 50 rec. It's not cheap to reinforce. No gear on the Hive Tyrant, though. This is looking rough for Alice. I suspect that Alice is maybe going to start pulling it back on the VPs because of web brigades and that kind of thing. And obviously the fact that Tex has basically let up the pressure by opting for the Tyrant Guards instead. And wow, we actually see a Bright Lance coming out instead of the Shuriken. To be honest, the Shuriken hasn't really been doing much, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But the Tyrant Guards must really be annoying Alice.
We have 200 points remaining.
I suppose one of the other problems right now for Alice is, even when they get the Tyrant Guard low, They got no AV to finish it off. Okay, the Banshee Exarch is here. We've got Fortune down at the Banshees and we've got Doom on the Tyrant Guard, but nonetheless, the Exarch is taken out and then the Tyrant Guard just charges away. Oh, that's so annoying. I mean, come on, Alice should have known that that was going to happen. That was a poor engagement. He did win, technically. Forced the Tyrant Guard off, his units are still in play. But ultimately, the Tyrant Guard just goes back to base and heals that off, whereas the Banshees now have to pay for another Exarch. It's not great. I don't know why the Banshees just charged into Adrenal Gland Warriors and Hormagaunts when they only had half HP and no Exarch. That was very odd. So yeah, what I suspect is going to happen here is Alice is going to start clawing back the VPs, as we're seeing is already happening, thanks to these web gates and such. But Tex is just saving up now. Probably just saving up for the Swarm Lord, and then he's going to do a huge timing push with the Swarm Lord, and that'll be GG. One thing that I'm not seeing Tex doing here is I'm not seeing him utilise the spawned units from the towers very much. Right now, he could just call in a tower, purchase a spawn mine, and then that would clear out all this crap in the building. Position your melee over here, just kill them in retreat path, easy. But he doesn't even need it because that is a bunker, so all the units are in a very small space inside of that building, and the Tyrant Guard actually does splash damage, so he is hurting them through the bunker, which is hilarious. And that is a wiped Bright Lance. So Alice is more or less capitulating at this point, and there is not a whole lot he can do. You know, I think Alice obviously went for the Dark Reapers because he knows that Tex likes Tyrant Guards, and Dark Reapers do more effective DPS to Tyrant Guards than Warp Spiders do. But I really think that the Warp Spiders would have been a better play. I feel like these Tyrant Guards, I don't know how much they're doing. I don't know how much you actually need to fight them because they're so slow. And Alice hasn't had a gen farm for God knows how long. I mean, honestly, he's been struggling to replace his Requisition, never mind considering making high power cost purchases. Therefore, if you don't have a gen farm to defend, why do you actually need to even engage the Tyrant Guards in the first place? Don't bother. So what I'm saying is, I think the Warp Spiders would have been better, because yes, they do worse against the Tyrant Guards, but who cares? Just throw your Haywire at them, slow them down, and ignore the fat guns. Use the Warp Spiders to actually punish the rest of the things that you can kill and can bleed in the Tyrannid army, and to help you get more map control. Because at this point, this game is done. I think Alice is having a bit of a fucking brain aneurysm or something, because I don't know why he just placed his Dark Reapers inside that bunker when he just seen what happened to the Shuriken. Yeah, and the Dark Reapers nearly died. Look how derpy they run, what the hell. I understand it's a big gun, Eldari, come on, you need some Kadashan muscles so you can handle that shit a bit better. Yeah, we've got the Swarm Lord coming out now, and that is obviously going to be the end of it. I mean, honestly, at this point, the Swarm Lord isn't even necessary. Tex could simply win with the army that he's got right now without the Swarm Lord, but you never know, he might get a good reaction when he sees the Swarm Lord from Alice. More Guardians bleeding. I really feel like there's been way too much Guardian bleed in this game. There's not really any reason for it when, yes, okay, I get it, Hormagaunts are faster than Guardians, but you just fleet away before you retreat. You shouldn't be bleeding Guardians against Horms. There's been way too much of it. So Hive Tyrant trying to take a bit of a engagement here. I'm actually kind of surprised he got a special. It's because the Howling Banshees are level 1. Wow. Wow. How often do you see a Swarm Lord on the field and Howling Banshees have only just got to level 2? Clearly, the engagements have not been going in favour of Alice this game. Jeez. I think Raveners at this point have had more than enough of this Webway Gate, and they're going to actually take it out right now. And yeah, I mean, that is going to be the end of it. The Swarm Lord's just going to push up into the face of Alice, and he's going to have to surrender. There's obviously no way that he can contest the VPs. This is one of them maps where the 2 VPs, you can do a 2 VP play in the late game. I mean, look at the distance between these 2 VPs, so short. Drop a bunker here, you just set up a line of defense here. Even if the enemy rotates all the way around to get your natural VP, well, you just pivot your troops over this way then, and you've still got your reinforcement thing here. You know, that could just be a brood nest, whatever. But yeah, he sees the Swarm Mod, and that is okay, GG. So, I mean, honestly, Alice got kind of stomped. But what do you think he could have done better here? I think it's hard to say. Like I say, I think I don't like the Dark Reapers. I mean, they didn't even get to level 2. They obviously put a lot of pressure onto the Tyrant Guards compared to what Spiders could do, but it wasn't enough. And if you don't kill the Tyrant Guards, you're not really getting any value, because you can put 1,500 damage onto the Tyrant Guards every engagement, but that doesn't bleed your opponent. It's kind of like chipping away at an IG Sentinel or Chimera. It's just wasted DPS. And they're slow, they're immobile against so much melee. I feel like these Raveners were an absolute nightmare. The fact that there were no rangers, they just constantly were harassing the Shuriken in tier 2 with the Burrow, and there was no counterplay. And that really hurt Alice's map control, and even with good webway gates, he did use really good webway gates. Even with that, he was struggling to maintain the map. And of course, he only lasted this long because Tex decided to go for a bloody Swarm Lord. He could have got a Lictor, he could have just stayed tier 2 and started getting Gene Stealers. Like, honestly, he could have done nearly anything. He could have just gone for Carnifex, and the VPs probably would have been closed out a lot sooner. But yeah, what do you think Alice could have done in this instance? Do you just think he got outplayed? Do you think his strategy was awry? Tell me in the comments. But thank you for tuning in, folks. It's your boy Torpid, signing out.